Welcome to LinkedUp, Breaking Boundaries in Education, a podcast that focuses on what is happening in education today, connecting everyone to the movers and shakers that are breaking boundaries in the education arena.
Welcome to LinkedUp, Breaking Boundaries in Education. Jerry, you have 2 kids. I have 2 kids. Getting into college is not like it was when we were kids. And there was a lot of stress in my household between what do you want to do? Where is it that you want to go? Both of my girls were completely different, of course. So the visits didn't really overlap. My first one, it was a little easier because she knew she wanted to be in the fashion world, but my younger one, she didn't know. And it's so hard. There are so many moving parts. And I wish we had met our guests who we have on today back then.
Oh, absolutely. And I think back, I was a former school counselor many years ago. And that's our job too, is to help kids find their way and where they want to go. So today we have 2 absolutely adorable ladies with us today. And if you go to events, you see these 2 gorgeous gals walking around in these blue suits. And I swear it's a marketing trend for them. But they garner a lot of attention because they both wear the same blue suit and they are from your college contact. So I want to welcome Sophie and Leah. It wasn't that long ago we saw each other in Baltimore, I believe. And it's good to see you on the LinkedUp podcast. So glad you are here today. So ladies, let's start off with you seem so young to me.
Yes.
And you are running a business.
They're entrepreneurs.
You're doing a heck of a good job from what I see when I see you at conferences. How did this get started? We want the details.
Well, thank you guys for having us on. We're honored to be here. And, we appreciate all the kind words of support. Our company started really as an accident in my college dorm room in 2020. We were COVID kids. So unfortunately, COVID hit when we were first years in college, and a lot of us lost our jobs, our internships. And so we were scrambling for work opportunities. This landed in my lap after a TikTok video I posted went viral. Hit hundreds of thousands of families and students across the country who reached out to me at 19 asking for support in this post-secondary process. Quickly had a wait list of thousands of families. And I had realized there's no way that we can support this many students with just one 19-year-old. So I called some of my college friends. Leah was one of those. And we started working together and supporting these families.
All right. I have a couple questions, though.
Yeah, and me too.
So many questions. Okay. So what was this viral TikTok video that launched all of this? What was it?
Yeah. So it's kind of a crazy story. Again, I lost my job that summer, right before we were going into the summer break, due to COVID. And I started working and interning for this older girl in my sorority. She had started a little nonprofit business supporting high schoolers with leadership skills. And my job through this internship was to go out and find high schoolers to sign up. And I was a snarky 19-year-old at the time. I was like, I'm in college now. I don't want to go find high schoolers for this, fake job that I don't want to have. And so I posted a TikTok video to my 3 fans, my mom, my sister, and my dad, and it just went viral. All these kids wanted opportunities and they were sitting at home.
Wow. So you just asked them what? You just said, do you want to what?
It was mainly, do you guys want to join this leadership program? And I really, truly think it's a mix of 2 things. One being, this was the age of TikTok. really starting,
Yes.
and everyone's sitting at home, like nothing to do, scrolling on this app. So I think it was that. And then also, again, everyone had nothing to do. So I think a lot of high schoolers like, this sounds like a great opportunity. But really what it spiraled into was, is this going to help me with college? Is this going to help me with my next step? I have no idea what I want to do with my life. Maybe you could help me. So
That's a foundational challenge and struggle, regardless of the social media that is in play and regardless of the time of our lives that this occurred. But because of those two factors, it helped to spiral it. So you really hit on what we all struggle with, trying to get into college, and the fear and the unknown and the challenges. And so you connected with people on that. And so that transcends. So now that's why you're still here doing this.
right. Yeah.
Oh, no, finish up, Sophie. I wanted Leah to
No. I
get
mean,
involved.
Leah has a great take on this too. Maybe she could share what she was doing when we gave her that call. But yeah.
Yeah, no, it was really exciting. I always contrast, like, I was not of the mindset that I was going to be an entrepreneur really ever. But I was super, super passionate about education, like ever since I was young. And so when Sophie reached out and said she needed mentors at the time, my COVID job was door dashing. So I was in, anyone's from California, I was in a Pizza My Heart. Literally, like, I remember the moment that I was picking up somebody's pizza, and I was like, I saw Sophie's text and I was like, oh, I would totally do that. Like, I would love to work with kids and help them get into college, because I just been driving around my neighborhood back and forth all summer. Because yeah, we all lost our internships, and that was my kind of next go-to plan. Yeah, it was great right away. And I think us being mentors in college is really like something that sets us apart now, that we had that experience of working with students. It's informed our training for our mentors now so much. It's informed the curriculum in our programs. It's informed everything, to have had that experience of working one-on-one with hundreds of kids and sitting in the mentor's shoes for so long before ever becoming just a manager and stepping out of that role. So that was also, I think, what really helped us form College Contact into more of a business, was having all that experience.
Right.
Wow.
So now fast forward to your business now. What is it that you offer and who do you sell to?
Yeah. So when we were undergrads, and we had that wait list, it was a lot of just one-on-one texting and phone calls and, Google Drive, and there was no fancy tech product, Venmos and all of that. When we graduated, we realized, we still had a lot of students on that wait list that couldn't afford anything. And, Leah and I were not charging too much, right? But we were trying to support ourselves through school. And it just broke our heart to see the sheer number of students across the country that had no one to sit at the table with them and, couldn't afford any level of assistance on their own. So we, discovered the college counseling crisis and the college guidance gap that's plaguing the country. And that really has to do with the fact that all these college counselors in schools across the nation are really struggling with such high caseloads of students. The average student to counselor ratio in the US right now is 408 to 1, leaving most students across the country with less than 10 minutes of one-on-one advising help a year. So we like to say they get less than a Netflix episode to figure out their life, whether that's college, trade school, military, or beyond. Imagine having less than 40 minutes to figure it out with an adult.
Right.
Yeah. So we said, let's go into these public schools and school districts across the country and support with additional staffing. And so we've done that. We've created a model where we offer schools on demand, unlimited advising hours with our trained network of undergraduate mentors. And Leah can talk a little bit about like why near peer and why we we chose that undergraduate network to start. But it's really been impactful because the kids get that one-on-one time with someone relatable, and we're able to offer that support in 30 different languages. So we're working with a lot of students that have, that English is not their first language, or their first gen, and mom and dad didn't go to school, right? And so they're lost in this process.
Yes. I found that was a key piece too, that first gen group going, like Jamie and I, we both went to college. We were helping our kids get through the whole process. But if you don't have somebody, you just say, forget it, right?
Right.
It's just overwhelming. And
Right.
so you all are there in the background, helping kind of push, supporting, getting them over that hump, because it's scary. It's really scary. Yes. So how long do you spend with a student? And kind of tell us your process once you have a student that you're working with.
Yeah. I don't think it will surprise any educators in the room to hear that it depends on the student. And so really like a big part of our job is to understand and figure out, like, for each student that a mentor meets with the first time, what does this student need? What is the end goal here? What steps do we need to do to maybe even figure out what that goal is? And then what's kind of the trajectory we need to follow to hit that end goal? And so all kinds of things can impact the amount of time they need to spend together. One is like, how early did they come to us, right? So they come to us earlier, then we can have a little bit more time with them. What is their post-secondary goal? It might not be a 4-year private university. It might not even be college. So what actually is the best path forward for this student, and what does that look like for them? And then what do we need to do to get there? That's part of why the model is so important, is because this is something that does need to be highly personalized, not only to the student's interests, but what the student is good at, the student's financial situation. All of these things play into how the student is going to plan for their future. And so any one size fits all approach for college and career is not going to work. And we've historically put it on one little person to do that for 400, 500 students. And that one little person, as you know, Jerry, like it's impossible. So that's really a big piece of the magic, is like being able to do that highly personalized support.
And kids also have a lot of questions, because it sounds like your workforce is made up of current undergraduate students who you have trained. So I have questions about that, about how you recruit, how you train. But also what I think sounds so great is that, yes, they have their guidance counselors. Yes, they have family, friends, or not, but at least they have this one person who is currently in it. So not only can they get this mentorship in terms of getting into school, but also, what is it like? Is it so much harder than high school? Am I going to be able to do it? What is the workload? So all of those questions that kids have, they don't have to wait till they get to school to find out. They can be relaxed and learn all of that. So how do you get those people? How do you recruit?
Yeah, and 100%, you're totally right. This generation has grown up with tablets, iPhones, social media, right? And we're in the generation now of AI, where it's harder than ever to like get connected to people in real life. So one of the big struggles with students now is not just financial aid, which is always going to be number one, is that social anxiety. If I go to college and leave home, what is that going to be like? Am I going to make friends? So you're right on that. That's where our model really shines through. We find and recruit students across the country, mainly because, and it's easy for us because of this huge gap in employment and opportunities for early stage talent and undergrads across the country. And now with AI, that's been expedited. And it's now like that gap is widening tremendously. So we've done research and found there was like a 5 billion internship shortage last year alone for undergraduates. And that's mainly because of AI replacing a lot of these early opportunities. Wow. You could go to a company and do some inputting into Excel or responding to emails right now with AI that can happen pretty quickly and without, paying an intern for help. So what we really pride ourselves on is we want to solve two huge problems in education with one solution, right? So we've got all these undergraduates that are top students, right? They're highly competent, they're ready to give back, they want to give back and work and have these opportunities, but they're sitting around in their dorm rooms because there's no opportunities available. And then you have in the K-12 world all of these schools that are struggling with not enough humans helping. So we're saying, why don't we be the bridge here and find those kids that are sitting in their dorm rooms, anxious to work and give back, and place them into these schools where these kids can have real mentorship from real human beings and not just have another login.
This is actually fascinating. It really is fascinating because your company was born from the lack of internship opportunity. And that was for the pandemic.
Right.
So, okay, we're out in the pandemic. That's not a problem anymore. But no. That is still a problem. And more so because AI has now taken over some of those low entry opportunities. So I'd never even thought about that. So your company, because of what you said, it's twofold. You are supporting those who are in college, yet at the same time supporting those who are not yet in college and how to get there. And like you said before, it doesn't have to be college. They might be doing something else in their lives and they can get that support. So that's fascinating to me. And you also hit something that I thought was so fascinating in that you mentioned that all of your workforce, yet those who your clients, they've all grown up in the age of some type of device, right?
Yeah.
And so I thought your point was so interesting that and now with AI, it's harder to find human contact. That's really so interesting because I didn't really think about that. I know AI is flipping everything upside down, but it's actually helped your business, or you're there to support that because it's harder to find human contact. This is and I think it's going to more and more be what we all need more and crave more. And you are supporting that on both ends. I love it. It's brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah, it is great. Okay, so I'm going to put my former superintendent hat on for a minute. And how can you ensure me that the kids that my students are talking to are legitimate and that they're not going to give them bad information or inappropriate information? How can I be assured of that?
Yeah. So
and let me just
I
clarify
love that
something before you. Sorry. Let me just clarify something before. So basically, you do sell to districts. You don't sell into individuals. Okay. So that's why Gary's asking that question. Oh, you do. Okay. And then I guess the question too is that, like, how are you supporting your mentor? You're hiring all these people. And then, so to Jerry's question, how do you make sure that they are giving this quality advice? Yeah. So important.
Yeah. Well, I really like that you asked that right after the AI question, because Sophie and I would say the center of what we do is all about humans and facilitating human connection. Like, that is what our brand and our company is doing outwardly, but that doesn't mean that Sophie and I aren't Gen Z and there's not a whole lot of AI helping us power our business and make things efficient and help us keep our mentors informed. So I would say, Jamie, your question, like that, those two go right together. So one thing is, like we mentioned, the mentors are all trained by us. They go through a rigorous training process. Prior to that, they go through a very rigorous vetting process. So you can't just come to Sophie and I and say, I want to be a mentor. Can I have the training? You have to go through a whole vetting process where we're really selecting not just for intelligent students, but students who have high EQ, students who can get on a call with a student and lead, who can problem solve, who can understand and have empathy. And so it goes far beyond just scanning a resume or a GPA. Then
That's great.
after training, we've implemented a lot of things to help the mentors with personalizing information. That's something that counselors, Jerry, you get that, struggle with all the time. All my students want to do different things or have different interests. How do I personalize my guidance? And so we've actually built a lot of internal tools, both with and without AI, to help our mentors get that highly personalized information and be able to have knowledge on the spot that they need. And that takes a lot of the lift off of the student too, that they have this super knowledgeable person helping them along.
And then are the sessions recorded? So if something would happen, I could go back and watch a session and make sure.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're all recorded. Every mentor is background checked. Sophie and I love to watch the recordings when we have free time because it's really sweet. I think when you think of high schoolers, you're thinking of like a lot of apathy and maybe not super engaged, but the meeting recordings are one place where we really see the students start to light up, and you see them go from being like nervous little muffins to like super excited and lighting up about their futures and meeting 2, 3, 4. And it's just great. It's really great.
You know what excites me too is the mentors. If I were hiring people and the person had been a mentor to a high school student, that would tell me a lot about them, about their character, about their people skills. It would just be such a selling point to me as someone hiring someone. This is such a win-win situation for everyone.
It really, really is. That's what I find so intriguing. So you did mention that you sell your services to districts directly, but then also for families. How do you do that? How does that work?
Yeah, so we've always supported families individually. That's how the company started, and we wanted to keep that going. We still have very robust TikTok account, so we still have.
What is it?
I will send it to you. We still are pretty famous on TikTok, so we get a lot of kids and families reaching out, like hundreds of messages a day from parents reaching out to us, asking for help. So we still support families individually, but Leah and I are clearly very impact focused, and we want to reach even more students because there's still a lot of kids that come to us that can't, afford our direct to consumer line. So we want to go into districts and also support those counselors that are incredibly overwhelmed. We get phone calls from counselors all the time. This is a lifesaver. Thank you so much. Can I just call you? My student's going through this. Like, can you help me with this? It's really been a game changer for these counselors that they don't have enough hands, right? Like they are doing a million things a day. And now with mental health, right, that most of their day is doing that and putting out fires, helping students with post-secondary has had to take a back seat because that's more important. So we really can come in and support that.
So do you just work with high school counselors?
Yeah, so we wanted to stay lean for now, right? The team is pretty small internally still, so we're only 2 years post-grad. So we've been focused on the high school to a secondary transition. We have actually started working with some middle school programs, but it's definitely a smaller piece of what we do.
Yes. You know what's interesting, just food for thought for you.
Yeah.
The research shows that by 3rd grade, kids have already made decisions about career and said, I can't be that because I won't have the money to do it, because I'm a girl, because this, because that. So food for thought for your roadmap. How can you reach them before 3rd grade, before those ideas get settled in there? That's down the road, but
Totally. 100%.
It's important.
We've had elementary school principals, like we've had lower school superintendents come to us and be like, can your mentors come talk to our kids about this? Like, you have girls studying biomechanical engineering, and you have, people who thought they weren't good at school and then now they're studying, neuroscience. Like, come in and just like push down some of those stereotypes and judgments we make on ourselves at such young ages. It's crazy. So I think Sophie and I are definitely both excited about that. I love elementary. I'm like, let's get down to elementary. It seems so much fun.
Well, maybe
Absolutely.
they were too. You never know. You mentioned
Right.
curriculum earlier. So that curriculum is for your mentors. How did you
Yeah.
develop it? What is the sequence? How does that look?
Yeah. So what was really important, and Leah's spoken on this, is that the quality of the advising and the advice we're giving was maintained to the standards that we've always had it at. And so we've, co-built this curriculum with previous admissions officers, with counselors, and really verified that the advice that we're giving these students is in line with what's current and fresh. But then the special sauce we have on top of that, because anyone can look up kind of college counseling tips, tricks, secrets, like that's pretty much standard, right? And hasn't changed too much, the baseline of it. We have our secret sauce in that the kids are active, right, on these campuses. And so they're always learning, okay, this year at, this school, president has put out a notice that he wants more entrepreneurship on campus. So we can translate that information to the students and say, UVA is looking for more entrepreneurs. Let's make sure in our application we're starting a little mini business like lemonade stand on the side of the road, or, speaking to that in the essays. So that's been our real secret sauce, is having that, boots on the ground approach so that we can really tailor the applications to that cycle.
Yeah. Yeah. That's terrific. Do you have a platform? How does the interaction happen? It's not just like Zoom calls, right? How does that work?
Yeah. So, like Sophie said, we're 2 years post grad. When we were in college, this was like a mix of Venmo, and if you're familiar with Wix and all kinds of little low-code things that we stuck together with duct tape and glue. Our first district program was pre-product. We learned a lot from that. It was kind of crazy at the time to do it because it was a lot of coordination and organization, but we learned so much from that. And we were able to put that in to building our platform. So we do have a platform that facilitates all these connections. There's no communication between students and mentors off platform. And the platform does all kinds of things. Like we said in the beginning, for the student, the goal is to like attend a meeting, right? And maybe message with their mentor on the platform a little in between. We don't expect the students to be logging in and reading stuff in the platform and doing quizzes and all this stuff, because if you've met a high schooler, especially a high schooler who might not be fully on track with post-secondary, not everyone is like, I don't know, Matilda, right? Like, so those students struggle to like constantly be logging in and expected to do all these little tasks. So for us, it's like the student's role is show up to the meeting. And then the platform has all these tools and resources that the mentor knows how to use to actually get deliverables done, get the information they need, and make sure that they're moving along and progressing. And so the platform is built that way, really to give the mentor their tools and then facilitate the connection.
Now, are there resources for students if they want it, or they just know that this is, there are.
They're
Okay.
there. They're there. But I would say the majority of our students, like I said, it makes such a difference that Sophie and I did this with so many students. When kids are, the way I describe it is like when kids are little, they're really excited to tell you what they want to be when they grow up. Your first meeting with a high schooler thinking about their future, it's like fear, hopelessness, like craziness, right? And so I think once they start working with their mentor and breaking down some of that anxiety, then they're engaging more in the platform, but really having that hand to hold as they go through that is such a big part of it.
Human connection, human connection, human connection. It's so great. And it's only going to become more and more important as we go on.
Any connection that works for the student. Like, I think that's something that sometimes gets lost in our model, is that Sophie and I aren't just matching kids with knowledgeable people. We're matching kids with people who they feel understand them and can relate to them. There's so much research behind culturally, linguistically aligned mentors that come from the same background as you, whether that's rural or first gen or all these things we're talking about. When you can hear from someone who really understands your experience and is telling you, no, you can do this, it means a lot more.
Yes.
See,
I think
heard
that's a
and
super big
valued.
piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder now, how do you match mentors to students? Do you have like a formula you use? What do you do there?
So again, it used to be hand matching, right? Like I would do my best. Now we have close to 400 college mentors across the country, all from different backgrounds. So over half of them identify as a person of color. Close to a little bit over 40% are first gen. Again, they speak 30 different languages. So we have a really diverse network of students. I think we have close to like 150 different career pathways. So we've got like aerospace engineers, nurses, like finance, accounting, right? So what's really been interesting is Leah and I from day one have said, we want the students to be like the CEOs of this company, right? Like we want them to tell us what's most important to them. And we want to give them efficacy and agency right off the bat. So we actually developed a matching quiz where when we go to a school, the kids tell us in the quiz what's most important to them in a mentor. And then the system will parse through our 400 different options and give them, a selection, a team that they can choose from. That's how we started, right? And, we had our own biases on, okay, we think that most kids are going to want to meet with someone that's school they're interested in or a major, right? And you really never know. So we've kept adding more factors into the quiz so that kids can really drill down. We've had boys that we have a perfect match for them, right? Where it's like same school, same major, same background, same language. And they skip all that and just go for the guy that also likes video gaming. And they're a perfect match, right? So
Yeah.
it's hard for us to come in and be like, this is your coach, right? When they would fit better with someone that's totally opposite and just shares an interest. So we've given them that agency to be able to do that.
If you don't mesh well with your coach, I'm sure you can change that.
How does that happen?
Yeah. Yes. So that's another learning we've had this year, right? Is not 100% of our students and coaches like click right away. And we anticipated that, but now what we're doing for upcoming programs starting in January is we've really opened up the network so that students can connect with even more options throughout their progress. So not even just, oh, we're not a match, right? I am interested in nursing and finance. Like I want to talk to someone in nursing and then the next day I want to talk to someone in finance, right? So we're expanding that as we've been learning things from working with schools, and now that is an option.
Well, that's great. I have one more question. How have school districts responded to this? Because you really do fill a gap that they're seeing. We wondered how they are responding to it.
Yeah. Yes. Go ahead, Leah.
Really well, honestly. Like to be honest, Sophie and I didn't know what we would find when we entered K-12 and started speaking to districts. I think there's a lot of kind of bounce back from all of the ed tech that flooded schools during COVID, right? And a lot of just software fatigue between teachers, admin, students. People are not only a little bit sick of software, but they're skeptical of like what it can do. And there's kind of like that influx of all these products, and some of them were amazing and awesome, and some of them maybe weren't quite what people were expecting. And so I think that kind of SaaS fatigue combined with just all the things that our students are facing, the amount of uncertainty, the amount of diversity we have in our student bodies across the United States, right? All of these factors kind of coming together to make schools really excited about a way to scale human support in their district and a way to deliver what they want to deliver, which is high touch, personalized guidance so that all of these kids can have a plan, regardless of what context we're in, regardless of how opportunities are changing or culture is shifting toward community college or 4-year or whatever. They really just want to be able to give quality, effective support that engages their kids and helps them want to plan for their future. And I think this is exciting for them. it's really
Yes.
exciting. It's not something that was really possible before.
It's so,
Absolutely.
so fantastic. So, I mean, these conversations, I assume, are private, yet perhaps maybe there's some, is there any AI documentation so that kids don't have to take notes, they can get that? But then also, what reporting do the district get so that they know that the students are getting their needs met?
We like to liken the model to, doctor to nurses relationship, right? So when we go to counselors, we say, it's like you all are the doctors and you have no nursing team right now. We're going to provide you the nursing team. The nursing team's going to go in, take all the prep notes, save those notes to the student's account. When you eventually have time to meet with the student, you're going to have all that documentation right there for you. And so when a counselor logs into the platform and logs into a student's account, they can see all the meetings they've had, they can watch the recordings, they can see the transcriptions, they can see the notes that the mentor has left for the counselor. So we do like student hidden views where the counselor can say, hey, Dr. Shelley, right? I met with Leah today and she's struggling with this. If you meet with her, I think you guys talk about this topic, right? So it's very similar to when you go to a doctor's office and the nurse takes notes for the doctor, right? And leaves all those notes there. It's been really helpful for counselors that, again, have that limited amount of time.
Yeah.
And when they have to do their own data and reporting, they can go in and see all the colleges their kids are applying to, all the plans, all the career pathways, all the notes. And if they have a parent call and say, hey, what's going on with my daughter? They can pull up their account real quick and be like, she's applying to these schools, she's struggling with this. She just picked these classes and it's all right there for her.
Brilliant.
Very cool.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The U.S. got of everything.
They
Definitely not.
Process.
It's
A learning process.
Yeah.
It has.
I know, but you say, oh, we've only been doing this certain amount of time, but what you've done in that short amount of time is so exceptional. And just the way the two of you I get so excited about young entrepreneurs. And so I'm just so impressed with the two of you and what you've been able to accomplish in this short time. And just seeing the value and the importance. It's going to make you scale, and it's brilliant. It's brilliant. And you're helping so many people, which I think is the most important thing.
Yes,
So great.
Yeah. We appreciate it. It's always been a priority for us to make sure. I love Jerry said win-win-win. Like that's
Yeah.
like part of, keep that on our wall, right? We want to make sure everything we're doing is like a win for students, a win for counselors, a win for parents, a win for our mentors, and then a win for her and I, right? As we grow this. So
yeah, it's perfect. Now we can't end the podcast without you telling, I love fashion, And I see you ladies in the blue blazers. I know there's a story behind this. I'm dying to know the story.
yeah, Leah, do you want to tell her about?
Well, so it's been an evolution. The blueness first started, we went to like our first K-12 conference together was CALSA in San Diego. And we used to have these like varsity jackets that we would wear, these like blue football jacket. We were like college. I don't know. It was like a vague connection, but we would wear them and we're like, maybe people will remember us for these. So we did something there and everyone was calling us ladies in blue. And they were so sweet to us. And we were like, now we have to always wear blue so that we'll recognize our friends from CALSA. And
Yeah.
anyway, later that fall, like we had more of a professional, I guess I'll say, conference coming up where like it wasn't going to be quite as casual dress. And so Sophie was like, wait, I saw these blue suits. Should we just order them and like wear those? And she sends me the link to this electric blue suit. And I was like, okay. Anyway, flash forward, they arrived in New York like the morning of the conference. So Sophie and I had not tried them on. We didn't know. They're like, I'll give you a hint. They're not from like a super nice store. So we had no idea. And
Sort of
so
like-
we put them on and we were like, okay, well, neither of us can sit down, but they look great. And so
Oh
we
my
were
God.
just like waddling around the whole conference, but it went great. We ordered a size up and now, yeah, we wear them all the time.
Now you're set. That's great.
It's
And now you
great
have a
work.
couple different versions.
We have
Yeah.
a couple of versions. They've become a staple, and we're starting a trend where now every school that signs up, we've joked it's going to be like master style, where we give the
Oh, right.
superintendent and counselors a blue jacket, and they can join the blue jacket family. But it has, I will say, it's made it very easy for her and I to pick for these trips.
Yeah.
Right.
We're not-
done.
Jerry,
Oh
you
my
always have like a full roster of outfits. I'm like, I could never. I just put on my
Yeah. Jerry travels with at the very least, 3 suitcases for ensemble changes. So,
I love
So cute.
yes, this is much, much more efficient, Jerry. So,
it.
yeah.
I love her outfits. You're always the
Always
best.
find her.
Oh,
She has the best. She has the best.
well, I think the blue suits are genius,
They are.
actually. Yeah, because I mean, we just know that that's you when we see them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's great.
It's so great.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. This was so informative. And not only that, Jamie, I am so impressed.
So impressed.
Are you?
Yeah, I know. I mean, it really is. And I wish you both much, much success. We would love, we're
Yes.
going to put all of your contacts in the show notes. I mean, obviously you're killing it, so you're in good shape, but we'll do that anyway. We look forward to seeing you at all the conferences and to see you again. So we'll definitely connect.
Yes, 100%. Thank you both for having us.
You've
Yeah,
been.
And yeah, we're excited to see you all at the next conference.
Absolutely.
Thank you for listening. And if you would like to stay linked up, be sure to follow us on Apple and Spotify and subscribe to us on YouTube.